the channel and welcome back to a new video on the Peugeot 306 GTI 6. The response to this car has been incredible and it's got such a big following. We are really excited to be doing the car because so many of you are interested in it, and I like the cars as well. I had quite a few of them when I was younger, the 306s, only a couple of the GTI 6s. There wasn't that many around back then when I was younger. So the plan is, someone has managed to get us the code for the key and the immobiliser code. So I've reached out to the locksmith, I've sent him the details, and he is actually going to cut a key before he comes. He is going to be coming at some point today, so we're literally going to be waiting around for him. Then we can start the process of the will it run video. As soon as we got a key, I think we are halfway there towards getting it solved. In the meantime, because obviously we are going to be waiting around, I noticed one of the most popular questions and comments was, what is it like underneath the car? And the answer to that is, I genuinely don't know. You know, it had flat tyres when I collected it, so it was quite low down on the back of the truck. Let me just come out the wind. It was quite low down on the back of the truck, so I couldn't actually get a good view of underneath it. But a lot of people have put in the comment section that we may have been very lucky because these earlier cars were galvanised from the factory. So we have got our fingers crossed that this is a galvanised model. And if it is, I should think it's still going to be fairly nice underneath. So let's stop talking about it, get it pushed in, get it on the ramp, get it up in the air, keep our fingers crossed and have a look what it is like. Guys, I'm not going to lie, we just put that up there and I was expecting to get underneath and say, oh dear. But I'm very shocked. The first thing we're going to mention before we move on under the car is the oil cooler. It's been leaking into those trays for the last couple of days. So that oil cooler has rotted out and it's got a severe leak. But looking underneath here, we're going to start at the back actually, because this is the bit that everybody kept mentioning in the comment section. Check the rear chassis rails, and as you can see, those chassis rails are perfect, and I think we have got a galvanised car. That certainly looks galvanised, but there is some surface rust. But as you can see on the hull under here, it does look reasonably good. We've noticed that it's got, obviously it's not, this is very old, but brand new rear caliper that side. And again, we got the same. There's a nice new one underneath all that muck this side as well. And moving on to the actual floor itself, it doesn't look any different to a modern car now. It's very clean, and all inside the inner seals are all very clean as well. I've noticed on the jacking points on the outside there is some surface rust. And then when we get further up here, literally the protective cover that they've painted over it is all flaking off. But there's no rot and there's no holes going through it. And again, over the other side, we've got exactly the same. It's just that protective cover that they've put over the top of the metal. But all up there on the inside of the inner wings, you can see it's all okay. Again, there is a little bit, no that's not, is it? It's just debris in there. There's no rot there at all. And again, all on the inner seals, there's nothing. There's a little tiny bit of surface rust on the outside edges. You probably can't see now through there, just on the jacking points. But apart from that, the floors look perfect. And it will clean up under here very nicely. Chris, are you pleasantly surprised after 11 years of sitting on a garden? That was quite surprising, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I looked at the brake discs on the front and the rear, and they've got no lip on them at all. And obviously when these calipers were fitted, it had new discs on it as well, but I mean they're quite rusty now, but the wheel's spinning quite freely. That one's a little bit stiff. I know quite a lot of people mentioned about the back beam as well. I mean, there's nothing obvious, there's no leaks, nothing appears to be broken, and I'm really surprised at how clean and tidy that is underneath there. We have not got a rot box. It's going to have a few issues, but it is far from rotten. Compared to that Range Rover, this is pristine. We're now quite happy because everybody said, you've got to see if it's a rot box before you bother spending any time on it. And we're quite happy now to continue. Guys, you would have seen there on the time lapse, basically before the key guy does turn up, he is going to be here shortly. I want to run round and do a few checks on it, like manually the fuel pump. Chris, would you mind? Just manually the fuel pump. Chris has rigged that up. We've got a clear bottle on there. Put a fresh gallon of petrol in it. Go ahead, mate. And as you can see there, guys, it's pumping out. The pump's working fine. And it is running clear now, Chris. Alright, so yeah, basically we wanted to clear the lines out. As you can see, that petrol is pretty mucky, so we just wanted to clear all the lines out, just go round and do a few checks before he comes, because we'd love to move on to be able to get this fired up. I'm going to quickly point out, a lot of people didn't see it in the video, so I'm just going to point out again, guys, we have checked the cam belt and it does still have the writing on it, and there's no signs of any cracking. A lot of people still said, Rob, you're crazy, you still need to change the cam belt on this car. The point I'm trying to get at is, we don't want to spend no money on a car. You know, that engine could be knocking, it just could be wrecked, and it'll be a complete waste of money and defeating the object by putting a cam belt on it. So for sure, if it runs, then that is something that we would look into, but for now we will try and get it running on that cam belt. I'm just going to move around and show you the little hot wire that Chris made up for the fuel pump. You can see two of the wires there are for the fuel sender, so the level of fuel, and the other two is obviously earth and live for that fuel pump. And what he's done is run two wires to it, put a connector on the end, and we simply plug it in and you can hear it running there. So yeah, another little trick. Let's get on. Well, we're going to wait for the key man, and hopefully he arrives and we can get this done. So guys, the locksmith turned up. He's done us just a normal key. It's not a remote key. And off camera, me and Chris, we have been trying it, and we've had the Noid lights in there on the injectors. Now the fuel pump is buzzing and it's spinning over. But the locksmith did say to me, he's deleted 2 keys off of the system and he's programmed 1 on. And he said, what you need to do is turn the ignition on with the door shut, crank the car, turn the ignition off, then open the door. So I'm going to do exactly that and then explain what he meant by that. So he said, just basically turn it over, turn the key off but leave it in the ignition and open the door, and you should be getting the Peugeot beep 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 beep, beep to say that you've left the key in the car. And we're not getting that at all. We've got the fuel pump now, the fuel is all squirting up there and it's all plugged in. It's got no hot wires on it at all. But we have had these off. We've had the Noid lights on there. The Noid lights are not flashing, so we've got no pulse to the injectors. So we are convinced that this is our problem. The car hasn't accepted that key. We don't know for a fact whether it has or not. On his system, it said that we have. So what we're going to do now is actually whip the ECU out and take it over to a Peugeot Citroën specialist with the key. Guys, we really do appreciate the support on this build, because we've already just spent £100 on a key and we're now just about to go and spend another £100 having this tested. Quite a lot of you did say, Chris will be able to get that running, he can hotwire it all. And this is not like the old HA Viva or the old MG Midget. This is actually ECU chipped key. They wasn't chipped, and there's no way of bypassing that immobiliser. I'm saying there's no way, there possibly is a way, but we don't actually know how to bypass it, and there doesn't appear to be anything online. So we're going to go and get that ECU dropped off with the key to the specialist and let him see if they match up. I was actually going to start by saying that was a little bit of a fail, but it wasn't really. Ultimately, we've come to drop it off over at Maidstone to a Peugeot Citroën specialist, and to be honest, I think we was a bit optimistic thinking that we was going to be waiting around for it. He said, oh, I can't do it now, it's going to take, you know, a couple of evenings. When I'm at home, I've got to plug it into my laptop, the ECU, and do various checks on it and download a file. And I didn't really get into it too much because it's not something that I know about. He didn't actually even need the key, so we're taking that back. But he said he's going to give me a call as soon as it's done, but it is going to be 3 or 4 days. But we've already waited quite a while. Obviously, we do want to get this video out, so I'm afraid this is not the Will It Run video, but rest assured it will be coming very, very soon. As soon as we get an update on that ECU and know what's going on, we're going to know more, and we'll put that straight in the next video. So I know you can't really call it a fail because we're still yet to know whether it runs. We found out a lot of people in the comment section was saying about it was parked up because it had something wrong with it, and like everything, there is a story, and we've been assured that that car was driven there, parked there, the guy went off to work, took the keys with him, and obviously what happened. So that car did run when it was parked there, and you can tell just by looking underneath it, it was very cared for, it was very well cared for. The oil in it, we dipped the oil, it still looks reasonably clean. The brake discs, all 4 of them, are like new. They're rusty, but what I mean is there's no lips on them. They are like new. So that car has been very well looked after, and there's no reason why that car shouldn't run once we've had this issue sorted with the immobiliser. Now, we could be barking up the wrong tree. It could have had a rodent in there. There was no window in there. We have had a good little scout through it, see if there's any chewed wires or anything's damaged, and there was nothing to the naked eye that we could see. And we did get right up the back of the dash there with a torch. But I do hate leaving the video on this note because I really did want that to run, and I wanted to drive it around the yard and show that we'd got it running, and that was it, it was done. So there is going to have to be another video on it, which I'm sure that you're all going to enjoy anyway. The last little bits I do want to pick up on. Quite a lot of people have reached out to me asking, I'd like to buy it, will you sell the engine, will you sell me this? Well guys, that car, for those of you that have been following a long time will know, it's not for sale. It is not for sale. We don't sell anything until we have finished what we're doing with it. And then once we have finished what we're doing with it, we've either repaired the car, restored it, or got it to a point where we're ready to let it go to the next person to continue. And until we've finished, that car won't be going anywhere. And then once it is finished, if we are getting rid of it, I will be putting it on Instagram and advertising it so that everybody can get a chance at buying that car. I'm not sure what we're going to do on that car yet, price wise. I have no idea, but no parts off of it are for sale, and the car is certainly not for sale. We need to get that car running, and that's the plan. So that is going to be the end of this video. I am sorry. I do hope you enjoyed what we did show anyway. And if you did enjoy it, please do give us a thumbs up. We really do appreciate it, and it shows your appreciation. As usual, drop us a comment in the comment section. Like, subscribe and share. Thank you all again, and we'll see you very soon in the next one.